Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Griot's Garage YouTube Live, a very exciting one. I'm Nick.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Stevie.
And we will shortly be joined by Jeff via Zoom. So
Patching them in.
This one is going to be all about our brand new hybrid micro polisher, which we're finally able to say we have in stock. We have produced enough of them now that when we showed you them many months ago and we were looking at pre-production samples, didn't get off to a great start, but that's the nature of development and pre-production. We're going to talk all about that. Jeff has been quite married to this tool for a very long time, so as have we all, but he's going to talk about what it takes to get something to market.
Yeah, the sales are off to a great start. I'm sure that all of you folks have already bought one. If you haven't, get on the website and pick one up if you want to, because they are definitely going quick. Of course, we have more on the way, but they are going fast, so get on there and make your order if you want.
We don't want to run out, but
for everybody.
It wouldn't be the worst thing, right?
No.
At least for a small period of time. So today we are going to be giving a few of these away. We'll see how many we're able to give away today, but we had one gentleman already comment that we're very negative towards our accounting staff and the bean counters, and but we do love them very much. But accountants are on one side of the business, the marketers and the developers are on the other. And so we need to balance each other out. And so we
do love our finance team though. They keep us in line.
There's no like arm wrestling competitions. It's just like, you're gonna do what? Like, yes, we're gonna do it. All right.
We'll
so
lead to sales.
Is Jeff on there yet? Introduce Jeffrey.
There he is.
Hey.
What's
I recognize
up,
that garage. So, Jeffrey, can you hear us? And we hear you.
Yeah, you guys sound wonderful.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, we're very excited to be able to bring Jeff in. I think the last time we did this, Jeff was here for an interior live last year.
Yeah.
And then when we launched our G9, we were able to kind of do the same full, thorough presentation about the development cycle, demonstrate the tool, and kick them off. So we are going to give some away. Best questions, great engagements. We have one pre-submitted winner already selected, and we're going to try and give away again as many as we can. And then I think we are going to save one for the no questions left behind, which if you've never seen that, we get a lot of questions in these lives. If we can't answer all of them, we do a follow-up that posts on our YouTube channel on Friday. We call them their questions left behind, where we cover the balance of them.
Yep. So make sure if you don't win a tool today, you will have one more chance to get one free of charge.
Yeah.
During that second follow-up live, no questions left.
And sometimes we miss a really good question, and then all of a sudden when we're digging through the questions for no question left behind, it's like, oh, that's...
Yeah, that guy's the one.
Yeah, we should have... So don't be shy, ask questions. We're going to start with a little bit of news and events, as we always do. Coming up, we're going to be down in Del Mar, San Diego, California, for the Good Guys Del Mar Nationals. So that's from March 31st to April 2nd. Go see our crew there. I'm certain they'll have some of these on the truck, or they can sell it to you at a discount and ship it to you for free.
Those guys are wheeler dealers, so.
Oh yeah, they'll do whatever they can.
Good place to buy a tool.
Always great place to go get your questions answered as well.
And a great time to be down in Del Mar, California. It's probably warming up down there.
Yeah. Never a bad time to be down in San Diego.
True, yeah. It's been a while since I've been that far south of California. And the next event, we have Caffeine and Gasoline Supercars coming up April 1st. That's another huge one, and my bet would be that a lot of the Ferraris that didn't show up this month for the Ferrari CNG because we had a terrible rainy day that morning are probably going to show up for the Supercars event on Saturday, April 1st. So make sure that you come out to that. Our weather around here is getting quite nice, so I'm definitely crossing my fingers for a nice, bright, sunny day that morning. And that is from 8 to 10 a.m., first Saturday of every month. But Supercars is the theme for April. You don't have to have a supercar to come and join in on the fun. Bring anything you have, whether it be a daily driver or a weekend project that's not even finished yet. We love seeing them all. And yeah, the Caffeine and Gasolines are really starting to ramp up this time of year, so it's a great time to get out and hang out with fellow car guys.
My kids ask me every weekend if they can go to Griot's Garage and get donuts. So
I love that.
They generally know what's up there. So a great family-friendly event as well. And then we have our Customer Appreciation Day on April 15th. That timing is not coincidental with tax day. That's a rough day, but just so happens it's the best day for that to happen. That will be at our flagship retail store as well on, again, April 15th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. all day. We'll definitely be doing some doorbuster stuff then.
And if you've got a return check burning a hole in your pocket, it's a great place for some of that to go.
Yeah, it's springtime. So
get ready.
Get yourself ready. Okay.
Let's see, if you haven't signed up for our promo emails to be notified of our sales and giveaways, I think we have a big sale coming up, right?
Yeah, actually it's active right now, so we better mention that. We'll mention it and remind it as people come in. But for you guys being here with us at our YouTube Live, we're giving you early access to our spring liquid car care sale. It's 20% off all the liquid car care that we sell. So use your key code SMLAX. I'm not actually sure when that sale ends, but you get early access tonight. So if we inspire you and you're looking to restock, now's the time. And it'd be great if you happen to win or purchase a polisher.
If you win or purchase one, get stocked up on liquids. Worth mentioning that 20% does not apply to the Boss Micro. So
it's all liquids.
Liquid car care specifically. So don't think that that's going to work on the Micro, but still a great sale to stock up while you're adding other items on there.
Yeah, so subscribe to your email or our email. That's a great way to find out. Obviously, follow us on Instagram and Facebook. It's a way to see our wonderful YouTube Live posters. Interact with us, ask us questions that you can submit for the giveaways that we do. And yeah, I mean, we have a ton of fun other things that we include in our emails, such as how-tos. And on our Facebook and Instagram, we're always doing short reels to answer questions that come up a lot, either with demos or just a quick explanation. So we try to provide valuable content as well as pretty pictures of cars.
Yeah, and be the first to know about what kind of money you can save or what kind of fun events we're having around here.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, 20% off. That's live right now. You guys get a chance to win the tool. But we didn't bring Jeff on to have him not talk about anything. And in particular, we're going to talk about this micro polisher today. So Jeffrey, why don't you start us off and tell us a little bit about this awesome tool.
So first off, Nick, we want to let everybody know that fast correcting cream and correcting cream is in stock.
That's
so
a good call out. That's a good call out.
Does include those highly sought after, super rare solutions. So anyways, yeah, it's very exciting. So, okay, you guys have probably, if you've been paying attention, you've picked up on a few tidbits. We're going to really kind of lift the hood up and give you a glimpse into not only how we go about developing a polisher, a professional grade polisher. We're not going to spend 5 years developing something that does not play on the field with the big boys. Going to give you that kind of look and then just talk through the process of how we go about doing that. And then we're going to look under the hood to show you what makes this thing unique and different and hopefully best in class as far as the micro polisher platform. All right. So I might get a little techie, a little crazy. Nick, Sam, reel me in. You do it every day. So
these
if
guys
that happens,
love that
just,
sort of stuff. So
yeah.
All right. Well, we'll keep it to the point. But we started this project in 2018, and we have a wonderful tool manufacturer that not only is our manufacturer, our partner, but for me, definitely, they become dear friends. Who are aligned with our company values. When you spend as much time dreaming and developing and pushing the envelope over WhatsApp, you get to develop a pretty strong friendship. But what it means to you guys is that they're aligned, like I say, with our values. They strive for perfection in everything. They're all about taking the best that exists and making it better. They are much like us. They accept nothing near right or good enough, and they're always looking for ways to improve our tools. So whether it's a G9, G15, G21, GR3, G13, all 7 of our polishers now, we don't just keep producing the same model. We're always iterating and developing and improving, frankly, sometimes from batch to batch. So we'll say a shout out to them. I know that they're watching. So Countless hours have been put into this machine, not only by myself, by our partner, but obviously the entire Griots Garage team. Don't want to get emotional, but we've got an outstanding team that makes it happen. So makes everything come to reality. So pretty pumped about that, to have such a strong team around us to make this stuff happen. So
we love you, Jeff.
What's up?
So we love you, Jeff.
Yeah, let's give a shout out to the accountants. We couldn't pay for the tools if they didn't mind the book. So
yeah, the accountants.
Yeah, those accountants. They keep the lights on. Which, by the way, I'm in my garage, you guys, where it all happens. I got one of those, Al Gore lights that shut off. And sorry, Nick, just had to say it, but I may go dark during this. So the bean counters didn't pay my bill that week. So, all right, focus, reel it in.
Well, Jeff,
how do we begin?
Before we talk about development, can you just summarize, we've had a lot of people just asking about, why micropolisher? So can you just describe why this tool exists, and then, briefly summarize what exactly you expect this tool to be able to accomplish if you're asking someone, why do I need this in my arsenal?
Yeah, I think we've done a good job with all of the tools, expanding on each platform and equipping them with different accessories, whether it's the G8 and coming out with a 1-inch extension shaft, or including 2-inch and 3-inch backing plates with the G8, the G13. We definitely try to build in versatility in the tools. But this tool is kind of like an all-in-one. I mean, it incorporates, 1-inch, 2-inch, 3-inch, 13 mil orbital, rotary, and potentially more if you guys want us to do that. So it cordless, and that technology has come a long way in the last 5, 6, 7 years, maybe a decade. I think everyone on this YouTube Live has probably got a toolbox full of different manufacturers, DeWalt, Makita, Flex, you name it. There's a lot of technology that we can wrap into a very, very compact package and make it very convenient to address super tight spaces on the go. Mobile detailers would appreciate it. I don't know. There's endless uses for it, from both the interior, exterior, under the hood, even under the undercarriage. So, and the coolest thing about this tool, we'll talk about it, is it's hybrid. So, not a big hybrid fan. For those of you that know me, I'll probably refuse to drive an electric car. No offense to you guys that do, but I'll be driving gas-powered cars till I go in the ground. But this tool gives you both AC and DC, so you've got even that much flexibility built in. So we'll elaborate on that as we go. But I don't know. What else what comes to mind for you, Sam?
I think you covered everything pretty well. I mean, I've been, very impressed with the capability of this tool for a micro tool or a smaller platform cordless tool. A lot of the competitive options that I've used have left me wanting more in terms of power and defect removal. There's nothing more frustrating as a detailer when you invest money into a tool for a specific task, and then you use that tool for said task and realize that money that you spent really didn't get you a whole lot further than what you were doing prior to, which is what I've experienced with really all of the other compact battery powered tools out there, and this one has continued to blow me away in terms of the torque and power and just what you're able to remove with it in a short amount of time.
Yeah, and to Jeff's point, the reason it exists is because customers demand it, right?
Yeah.
And obviously we're not first to market with this concept, but if you go back even further into like the OEM and pneumatic space, like chasing paint nibs and factory correction before it leaves the assembly line, they've got pretty small precision tools.
Yeah.
And how do you translate that into an electric body? And I think we've accomplished it with regards to the 1-inch size that we have available in our G8 and GR3 rotaries. But to be able to combine both provides the value that Jeff described, right? And literally you can change your function as your spaces get tighter and tighter versus carrying 2 tools around. We'll get into the specific aspects of the technology as we get through the show, but Jeff, I definitely wanted that overall summary. Again, we've been working on it for 5 years. And Jeff stated it, we have 7 tools that we've developed and launched since 2019, but this one started in 2018. Took a backseat to some of our, our broader tools, and in particular because we had a lot of challenges in developing it. Right, it's our first time doing this, whereas we'd been selling corded, random orbitals for many, many years, and knew what was wrong with them, so we could engineer that out. Versus a net new concept, patent navigation, all that goes into it. So
it's a pretty protected space, being that there's not a lot of big players, that are making tools like these.
Yeah. And again, when you're talking about the main utility of something, this detailing is a net new thing versus the OEMs and refinishing space that can go into professional shops and have air and other types of things. So, Jeff, we got that covered. I want you to talk about how this started, and then what goes into the development and the iterations.
Covered the micro here's with pods. So we have labor. We do have EBs now.
Ooh.
Scary.
Jeffrey, you're kind of warbling on us.
On the.
We're gonna.
Hang on.
Oh, that sounded better.
Technical difficulties.
You guys better?
That's better. Okay.
Okay.
Very good. So
again, we have three accounts. Are we good?
Yep, you're good.
All right, guys. Sorry. All right. So I'll just start off by explaining how we go about doing this. So we all agree. We convince the finance team, the executive team, that we're going to embark on developing a crazy tool, and we basically start looking at all of the leading manufacturer solutions. So there's no secrets. There's obviously 2 big leaders in the polishing industry as far as professional grade tools go. 3 probably, or 4 if you count them all. But you look at every one of the tools and you try to understand the strengths of each tool, and then you look into identify what the weaknesses are, because for those of you that spend hours and hours on it in your garage, there's always something that bugs you about a tool, whether you're grinding or vacuuming your house, whatever it is. There's certain design elements that I don't think people are real users when they design it. They maybe engineers can create brilliant CAD drawings and really aesthetically pleasing tools. They understand what it's like to hold a polisher for 20, 30 hours, polishing a car for a hot shop. So having intimate passion, experience, being able to understand what of a tool means to and for vibration and duty over the course of that time.
You're warbling again, so just keep tweaking it, and we'll call you out when it's happening. But just a little bit of warble on that. Sorry, guys, we are patching him in, so appreciate it. You're going to get some great expertise out of Jeffrey. Just be patient with us.
We're not faking it.
All right, keep going, Jeff.
I'm gonna go to just go to the phone and see if that's any better. Sorry, you guys. You just blame Apple, okay? Jeez Louise. Is that any better?
Yeah.
Okay, so so you break down the good and the bad and the ugly of all the different machines, polishers, different tools that are on the market. Even maybe go hang out at Home Depot or Lowe's for couple hours and get threatened for what do you call it?
Loitering.
Having a brain fade. Yeah, loitering. Thank you. So you start to build a picture of what you want, and you obviously look at everything that's out there. There's really some really wonderful tools, but how can you take that wonderful tool and make it better? Because there's always incremental changes you can make to take it to the next level. And then you start to think about what are unique and creative innovation. Like, if it doesn't exist, create it. So if it's something like a digital control center, or a number of different pivoting head, or whatever you can do to incorporate it into the function of the machine without getting kitschy or obnoxious, something that's truly functional. You look at and explore those options. The ultimate goal is to optimize performance, comfort, control, and once you define those specifications, for me, it starts off with just kind of a napkin sketch. I'm no Kit Foose. I've seen that guy draw, and I would kill for 1% of his talent. But taking a napkin sketch, providing that to our partner, they can then start looking at all the specifications and understanding the power supply, or the motor, the electronics, and then start to build a body around those key components. So from there, you jump into CAD drawings, and I don't know if Matt, you can maybe pop up a couple iterations, but I can't tell you how many iterations we actually explored, probably hundreds of drawings. So not on Alibaba, true drawings that honor the Grizz Garage brand and our design elements. And then from there, you continue to tweak and refine. And the next step is to move to a three-dimensional 3D printed model. And I'll give you an example of the 3D printed model that we, one of the final models that we received, that allows you to really identify where your hand falls on the grip, how it aligns with the trigger, how the diameter of this body is ergonomic and comfortable. Just all of those things. At the end of the day, the polisher needs to fit in your hand like a glove. If it doesn't, then we go back, we refine the CAD drawing, and add a millimeter here, add a millimeter there, whatever it requires, and we'll do another 3D printed model. And it's 3D printing. Gosh, the technology there is just fascinating to me, and it allows you to really refine a tool far beyond anything we've ever done in the past.
Yeah, and Jeffrey, I mean, you showed a 3D printed model of kind of our last iteration, and just to kind of show some of the concepts that we started with, right? We had a different shaped body and kind of a different concept around the pivoting head that was more kind of freestanding. Went to a pinned 3D model that was functional, kind of a more typical cylindrical looking Li battery and more traditional power switches. And this was probably, again, sometime in 2019, 2020, when we're starting to get these. And as you can see, just more and more refinement, more of the details coming through. As Jeff mentioned, some of the brand attributes, logos start adding up, how the double shot rubber is going to get put onto the tool. Still, the locking mechanism, these are, just coming out of a CAD drawing, right? So very early developments that we can, create in plastic, put guts in them, and really start to refine and develop. And again, you can see at one point we got a little wonky. This thing was probably twice the size.
Yeah.
And it has separated, but you kind of get a sense of how these are constructed. So we've done, right here we've got about 6 of them, but Jeff has kind of stolen all the rest of them and hidden them somewhere in his garage, and then complains that he's running out of shelf space because he's got like a family of all these prototypes and development iterations. But really, I think we had talked as a group recently.
My baby.
What? Where are they hidden,
my baby.
Jeffrey? Where are they hidden? We're going to need them for the Griots Garage archive someday.
You'll get them. It's fine.
To your point, Jeff, you start with referencing all these other tools, whether they be on our marketplace or they be the hand tools or power tools that you, me, Sam, and a lot of our customers interact with around the home or around their cars, right? There's a difference between an USAG combination wrench and the $10 one you can buy at Home Depot, right? The edges, how it fits in your hand, all the way down to, these DeWalt power tools and where the exhaust vent comes out and heats up your hand, or even pneumatics that same way, right? Where the compressor is actually cooling your hand off. So all of those things kind of weigh into how we think about ergonomics, and having the opportunity to iterate and feel them through 3D models is a fantastic, blessing that we have, right?
Yeah, and I think, we hold it as one of probably the top 3 or 4 important parameters to really vet in developing a tool. There's a lot of brands where you see a ton of similarities to some of the older style tools, and those are often situations where they're buying something off the shelf and not necessarily working to improve on what's already been done. And these are tools that you're working with for hours at a time in most scenarios, and if it's not comfortable, you're gonna experience a lot of issues related to that. Fatigue, job taking longer, just not having as good of a time while you're doing it, not wanting to do it, all sorts of things. So the ergonomics and the feel, which as Nick, as you said, you start to see evolve through all of these 3D prototypes is really important to the development of the tool, and how you guys end up perceiving it when you're holding it in your hands and running with it.
Yeah, we're going to show you a couple of these things, but a couple of the key features of this tool: it does have a brushless motor. It does have that unique digital control center. Those are things that we incorporated over time, but really it is just a sign of the times, in that the technology is catching up to be able to transition it into a detailing application. And one of the things we were talking about was the A10 Warthog, right? They started with a big gun.
Yep.
And then they built a plane around it. We really wanted to have the most effective and powerful micro polisher, and then built the body and the functions around it. So we're going to get into showing you this, and I know we've had a lot of questions about the specifics, experiences. So we're going to show you. But yeah, to get here was a lot of baby steps, a lot of steps backwards. We talked about in our video just patent navigation, right? When you start doing bendable heads, right? There's some pretty big players, I think Bosch and some major tool manufacturers that have patents on things that kind of cover different industries and different functions. So we have to really work with that. And some of these earlier ones kind of looked like they were too close to an existing patent. Instead of being jackasses and or getting sued, we had to develop around that. So
yeah, and sometimes even if you think like this is different enough, there's definitely some technicalities written into certain patents where even though your design might not be identical, if it's accomplishing the same thing, you can still get yourself into sticky situations.
Yeah. And stealing other people's IP isn't great.
No, not something that we want to do. And really, one of the cool things about an innovation or a feature of a tool being patented is it forces you to think outside the box and find a creative solution to do it better or do it differently. So I think a lot of those patents that we ran into forced us to find more creative ways to make this tool what it has come out to be.
Jeff fell off. Okay. Yeah, so really what we're kind of speaking to and we want to demonstrate, we have some amazing features built into this tool. Obviously the cordless function, the adaptability of the power adapter to run it corded. That cord is the same that runs all of our other tools, we are a little behind in launching that adapter, so it will be available this spring, but it is not currently available. But if you subscribe, follow us, sign up for emails, you'll be the first to know when that does actually come in. And really, we wanted an efficient, powerful, and really highly adaptable tool. So if you think about what a brushless motor can offer, is efficiency of power operation. This is a direct drive motor, so you don't have a gear set, so you have minimized vibration and noise.
Yeah, which is a huge difference from a geared tool,
which
that's comparable.
The competitive set is only geared tools, right?
Yep.
And they're small gears. You get a little high-pitched whine on them.
Yeah, you have, I think, one manufacturer that's brushed and the other that's brushless.
Yeah.
Both are geared.
Yeah, so we can, demonstrate the noise of this tool. It's pretty fantastic. That's full tilt boogie.
Yeah, I mean, you can
and we're having a conversation.
You can talk over it at a normal voice level. You can even, listen to your Bluetooth speaker while you're running it, and it's not going to drown it out completely, or you've got to put headphones in. The noise is, I mean, it sounds kind of silly when you're like, oh, it's so quiet, it's so nice. But when you're detailing a car and you're running the thing, you're running tools for 8-10 hours of the day, you get that ring in your ears at the end of the day if you aren't wearing ear protection and you're running really loud tools. And this is just, it's very pleasant to use for a prolonged period of time.
Not to mention, again, the gentleman who said he has, arthritis and very sensitive to vibration. You can get a lower vibrating tool. That's a really nice way because you're spending a lot of time on these things. So let me know when we have Jeff back.
I want to call out a few things real quick. We've had a lot of questions on whether this battery is interchangeable with the new electric sprayer. Completely different. That battery is pre-installed.
Yeah, that battery is not removable because that unit is used in and around water.
Another thing I wanted to call out, we had some questions on whether the battery was able to be, whether the machine was able to be used while the battery was charging. And yes, the inverter that allows you to use the power cord actually replaces the battery. So you could have the battery on the charger charging while you're using the inverter.
Yeah, slides right in to this space. And Jeff, when we get him back, we'll show you our pre-production inverter, which again, right now is not currently available. It will be very shortly.
Yep.
And then the last thing I want to call out, once again, 20% off liquids. Use the code SMLAX, and that is running through March 28th. So you have early access if you use that code today, but it will be available through the 28th.
And Stevie, can you get us to the bottom of the chat so we can see what's coming in?
Recent stuff. Yeah, I know we had a lot of folks asking too, like, will 2 batteries be enough to run the tool all day long? Short answer to that is yes. I mean, there may be a very short period where you're waiting for that second battery to top up, but it's going to be, 10 to 15 minutes at the most. You're going to get, 30 to 40 minutes out of a battery depending on your load and application.
Yeah, and we've had these tools out in the world with, in particular, our sister company, Griots Motors, who's been refinishing some cars. And we checked their runtime. They had done a full refinishing on a Mark II GTI and put 4 hours on the tool.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, 4 hours sounds like a lot of time, but refinishing a car takes a lot longer than 4 hours.
Yeah.
But you're running the tool for 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. So, in particular, you're also not doing the entirety of a car with this, right? You're doing some spot treatments. But that adapter is a critical element to this tool. If you are doing only small stuff and you need it to run forever, you can do it.
Well, and they were doing that job without an inverter, just swapping batteries in and out, charging one while the other's on the tool. So definitely very user-friendly in that way. Charge time's going to be, 45 to 60 minutes, depending on battery depletion. If you were getting every last bit of power out of that battery, it's going to take a little more time to charge.
Yeah, and runtime is going to vary based upon, we can run on the Orbital setting, which is a 13 millimeter orbital offset, 3, 2, and 1 inch plates. So you've got, if you're doing a 1 inch orbital system, you're going to consume a lot less juice than the 3 inch because you're pushing a lot, smaller pad around. Your rotational mass is lower. And then on the rotary, you can do a 2 and 1 inch. And so really, depending on the size of the plate, the thickness of the pad is also another potential. We sell very thin profile pads, but if you wanted to run a 1 inch pad, you could. just keep in mind that's going to consume more power. But the brushless motor is super efficient. It does not get very hot because it doesn't have all those ancillary aspects of a gear set that make it exceptional. But yeah, 2 batteries, and I've used it extensively myself. I never exhausted a charge because I'm using it for spots.
Yeah.
But I'm certain that if somebody's doing, again, only small stuff or has a substantial amount of small stuff to cover,
yeah,
like those hood louvers on the 512 BBI.
Yeah, that, and I mean, Stevie and I detailed a older Chevy Silverado 1500 a couple weeks ago, and I went through 2 batteries using it for the entirety of all of the compact tight areas, being the the angular section. It's about 1.5 inch high section along the bed rails. Same kind of angular section along the sides of the hood and the edges of the hood. A pillars, B pillars, C pillars around the emblems and the tailgate, and then around the front bumper. And yeah, 2 batteries got that done, no problem.
We have Jeff back yet?
Almost. I just lost internet.
Okay. Well, we did have one pre-submitted question that I did want Jeff to answer. And that is our first giveaway winner. So it's about time. We're 40 minutes in here.
Yeah, buddy.
And we want to give one of these away. I actually saw the gentleman's name in the chat, so hopefully he's going to be on this and realize that he has won. But Ryan Baumgart, he asks, as a condo dweller, I really appreciate the jump into cordless polishers. My question is, why start with the micro polisher size for a cordless option? Is it cheaper and or easier for you guys to learn tests on a machine this size? So when you want to introduce cordless options for larger size orbitals, a lot of the lessons were already learned with the micro polisher.
It's a great question.
Or is it the demand for a cordless micro polisher just greater than the demand for larger size cordless orbitals?
He's onto something.
Fantastic question. So do we have Jeffrey to answer that?
I'm back.
All right.
Hey.
Did you hear that question in its entirety, Jeff?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So Ryan Baumgart, who's going to be the winner of our first tool, asks, why start with a small format machine? Is it cheaper and or easier to start with this size so that if we hopefully develop larger tools, we've learned all the lessons in this smaller size? He's really just asking what's the rationale for this, or is the demand for a micro polisher higher than a large format cordless polisher? So there's plenty of meat on that bone. And I'd love to hear your answer, but ultimately, Ryan Baumgart, fantastic question. We've got a great series of answers for you, and you're our first winner of the Boss Hybrid Micro Polisher. So congratulations. Email us at social@griotsgarage.com.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. I would suggest, like me personally, if we can push the envelope on technology and put it on such a small platform to then transfer that technology into a large format tool would frankly be easier. So that's kind of what I would that, and frankly the all of our 6 other machines, they definitely serve a need. And I think we got to start somewhere. And we'll talk a little bit about our future plans without revealing too much. But yeah, it's hopefully some good job security, and we'll keep the pedal down. But I did want to, I don't know what all you guys chatted about because I missed a few things, but definitely want to chat about the I think what makes this polisher probably, well, I would say stand out from all other micro polishers on the market. Does that sound good?
Yeah, we definitely want to demo it too. We kind of got through all of that, and want to transition onto the motor, but we wanted to show the function first because we've been talking for a while. I would also say to Ryan's point, there was a budding market for the micro polishers, and as we mentioned, Jeff mentioned, we have a family of tools that get the vast majority of it, but you keep wanting to refine, and driving towards perfection in the space that you can't access with a hand or with a polisher that you're doing by hand. And when we think about like that 512 VBI, it's literally got like 40 slats that are about a half an inch wide. Doing that by hand is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where this leads to. And then, of course, as Jeff mentioned, you know, it would probably have been easier to do a large format tool. However, part of the knock on the large format tools is, you know, they're going to have a battery on them. They're going to be heavier. With a larger format tool, you're going to run that for longer. You're going to generate more heat. And you're cycling this tool for so long that it's going to consume batteries faster. You know, all the while, the battery technology is catching up. Brushless motor technology is out there. So you could probably get there in a larger format tool. I think what we found with what exists on the market that's cordless in larger format, it's not quite there. There's some good options, don't get me wrong, but they are extremely expensive. And so this was a great opportunity. And yeah, we'll speak to the future. You guys can obviously poke us and say what you want about what's next, but really want to show off the tool and what it's made of. And again, I hope Ryan Bob, oh, he's in there. Ryan's in there, great. So keep asking questions, guys. There's a lot of good ones in here, but yes, Ryan brought the thunder with that question, and I was excited to give Jeff the answer or the opportunity to answer it.
Yeah,
and
great question.
He also said he's also a fellow bean counter and doesn't appreciate the way we're portraying.
what do you mean? We just gave you a tool for free. I'm sure that you're having an identity crisis now, because.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Ryan, really appreciate that very thorough question, and that's, you know, we love getting put on the spot, answering those questions, and great job. I'm gonna enjoy this tool.
I think if anything, bean counter has become a term of endearment around here.
Yeah, definitely.
Not a bad thing.
Okay.
To demo one?
Yeah, let's demo it.
All right. So the first demo we're going to do is going to be with the Orbital function. I'm going to give you guys a quick demo of the swap here. So I can't recall the YouTube handle, but one of our viewers commented on the quick disconnect system being very similar to a steering wheel quick disconnect. And that is very true. It is a collar that you pull down, and we have the rotary shaft in there as is. Take our orbital counterbalance. These do feature a hex shank on the shaft. So if it doesn't drop in first, just give it a little quarter turn and then release your collar, and that's nice and locked in. We always recommend, easiest way to do this is with the tool sitting on its back as you see it here, so that you can get, you know, good leverage and that you're not putting odd tolerances on that quick disconnect collar. Pull down,
Or
pop your old
or
one out,
ejecting
drop
your drive system onto the ground along with your pad.
Yeah, or onto the car that you're
Yeah.
doing it next to or whatever else. That's never good. So good to do it on a flat surface.
It's important to note too, when we had issues with our first pre-production tool in our live right after SEMA, that pre-development one, the hex had actually sheared.
Yeah, it essentially stripped.
Yeah, so the motor was still trying to drive it, but these are much more substantial, obviously.
These are hardened as well.
Yeah.
That prototype was not. So now we've got the counterbalance in there. I'm just going to give that a little pull, make sure it's nice and locked in. You'll hear it too. You can hear the locking click as it fully seats in there when you're installing that. And then we're going to run this with our 2-inch plate. So this 2-inch backing plate here, easy to install. You've got your little wrench. Usually you can just spin these on by hand, and then all you need is the wrench for that final quarter turn. Don't over torque your plates. It's not necessary. It's going to make them a lot harder to get off. Just finger tight. You guys do not need to reef on that wrench. So throw a 2-inch pad on here. We've put some black Sharpie marks onto the pad so you can see rotation. And we're going to show you guys how powerful this tool really is. Common problematic area, you know, with other small platform cordless tools, or when you're running into a deep contour, especially when you have an adjacent, you know, vertical edge next to it, like what we have here. Typically on this hood, I would use a normal orbital polish the majority of this, but you'll run into a lot of these areas where you have a very small channel here, or this could also imitate, you know, like a contoured panel at the bottom of a door or the bottom of a tailgate, which are common on a lot of modern vehicles, where you'll experience that a 5 or 6-inch pad simply cannot get full penetration into that contour. So that's where you're going to approach it with the smaller plate and pad size. So come in just a little bit of polish residue on here. I've already got this a little bit pre-primed. And we'll start. I'll power on. I'm going to turn the speed controller down just so I don't fling myself with polish here. Variable speed trigger, so I can also start out nice and slow with the trigger and then ramp up to a faster rotation. So we'll get it up to speed here as we spread the polish out. So we're running it at max speed, and you can see, oh, little sling there. As I approach this contour, normally as soon as that pad starts to hit that vertical edge, it's gonna bog. Right there, I'm hitting that edge. You can see if I press too hard, it'll slow it, but I can easily cut into that contour, pressing against that edge, with a good amount of pressure without suffering from any pad stall. So you can see, if I wedge the pad and get uneven, even then, I'm able to maintain some rotation unless I put a ton of pressure, and then it'll slow down. But being able to really cut into a contour and an edge like that and not have to be extremely careful about your technique because the tool has enough torque to maintain rotation in that section, you're going to be able to mow through defects in channels like that, where normally, that can be an area of the car that kind of causes you to beat your head against the wall. When you're doing it with an inferior tool or too large of a pad, you wipe off your residue and see all those defects left in that valley.
Yeah. So we've got a couple quick questions I want to tackle, and then Jeff, I'll let you weigh in. Overall weight of the tool with the battery, 2.5 pounds. This thing is a featherweight. Somebody was also mentioning the balance of the tool. Just in terms of really where the balance is, it's kind of over the center of the body. Really well balanced tool. Obviously that has a lot to do with Jeff's work. The brushless motor is actually housed in the head here.
Entirely in the head.
So really,
all
really
your weight's
cool.
At the front and then at the back with the battery.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the powertrain, next. And then we had one other question about this little stand. This does not come in the kit.
Oh.
We made this for SEMA to just display our tools. So yeah, that's a custom piece, but 2.5 pounds. And then yeah, the battery, as some have asked, is proprietary. It's a really hard market to enter. But as we obviously gain some equity selling more of these, kind of that first, hey, develop a unique lithium ion tool for me, and I'm Griot's Garage, and I'm not Makita or DeWalt.
Yep.
You can imagine how that conversation goes. So we've got to commit to certain quantities and really get it to be special or ours as opposed to some generic, turd off the shelf.
Yeah, there's also a couple battery manufacturers that really supply 90% of your quality batteries that you see out there. So we had to throw some weight around to get access to those guys as well, because like Nick said,
yeah,
they tend to be a little more exclusive.
One other thing too, because we're getting a ton of questions, kits. So I want to talk about what it comes with out of the box, and then the long and short is that eventually, when we are receiving inventory of the adapter and a couple of the other accessories that we're waiting on right now, which is like the rotary extension shaft, the longer one, backing plates, that we will be kitting those for more substantial offers. Right now, the kit does come with the base tool, one battery, 3, 2, 1-inch plates. Comes with the 2 drive functions, so the rotary and the orbital counterbalance. It comes with a 12 and 20 volt charger, if you guys want to make any assumptions about that, that we designed ourselves. And then this awesome carrying case. So we've had a lot of questions about the case itself. All molded for very tight tolerances and extra batteries and a place for everything you got with the tool, including the charger itself.
Put extra pads or plates in there.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, the painter down at Griots Motors had his already totally effed up.
Fully kitted.
Yeah, he had pads everywhere and was just carrying around like a briefcase, like, I'm off to work. So, Taylor's not Russian, but whatever. That's what came out of my mouth. All right, Jeffrey, what do you got?
Oh man, I don't know. Can you guys see me yet?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I can't see myself, but we'll roll with it. So, okay. The the motor is what makes this thing go. It is not something that came easy. It is definitely one of the things that took the greatest amount of time. And if you look at the first polisher to the kind of the micro polisher category, big, strong, leading manufacturer, they utilize a brushed motor, and commonly referred to as like a commutator motor that relies on a commutator and the contact with the carbon brush. We all kind of know, I think, some of the drawbacks to that design. Obviously, it's the most common design motor used in virtually most polishers, most tools, AC tools. But the drawbacks to them are the heat generation due to the like super high friction between the commutator and the carbon brush. The brushes wear out, and as they wear out, they actually begin to produce less power. And then they're also very inefficient. So there's a voltage drop because of that. I'm no electrical engineer, but basically they're very inefficient, and that's why we have to rely on 1,000, 1,100 watts of power to create a robust experience. They're also larger in size due to that need for that increased wattage, and due to the heavier copper and so forth. It's also got a larger rotating mass. So if you can imagine a crankshaft and an engine, if it's not precisely balanced, what happens? It vibrates. So those are some of the drawbacks to commutator motors. Certainly we, in tools like G15, G21, our standard AC polishers, like we go to great lengths to drive out vibration and kind of blueprint and balance the internal components. The other thing is that commutator motors run at extremely high RPM. I don't know. I asked you earlier, Nick, or Sam, I believe, but it's pretty crazy. If you look at the actual rotary or the rotor inside the motor, it's spinning at on average 26,000 RPMs. So I used to think F1 motors were high RPM. These commutator motors are spinning at a very, very high speed, and that of course can contribute to vibration if they're not finely tuned. Conversely, the micro polisher motor, the brushless motor, is spinning at around 5,800 RPMs. So the benefit there is, it's quieter, it's very, very, very smooth in operation, and it requires less power because it's just more efficient. The small polishers, to build a brush motor within a small polisher, there's a lot of inexpensive machines. In fact, one very expensive machine that relies on that brush motor, they're really not very powerful. And if you've used them, that's one of the reasons that we went to a brushless motor. The other thing that they do is, because of that low power, they transfer the power to the drive mechanism that powers your backing plates and your orbital and your rotary drives. They rely on a gear system, and without geeking out too much, when you have a pinion and a ring gear or whatever the gear system is that's transferring that power, how those gears are machined is very critical. You've heard some machines sound like a cat's getting their fingernails ripped out. Some machines kind of grunt and groan. Some machines have different frequencies, and that's all dependent on how the gears are machined. To do it right and machine gears properly is very expensive. But the drawback to gears are that they're typically louder. They also have a friction point there that's occurring, and that reduces your runtime or the efficiency of the overall drive, the assembly. They can also contribute to vibration. So in order to create this platform where we have a pivoting head, we really had to get rid of a motor that's positioned in the housing of the tool, which is common with all the current micropolishers on the market. So what we ended up doing is selecting and creating and engineering from nothing a direct drive motor, 10 amps. What you'll notice is there's no gears. So it's a highly efficient drive system or power system that you reduce the heat, you reduce the vibration, you reduce the loss in energy, which ultimately reduces your runtime, right? So this is going to give you the most optimal runtime out there. Very, very quiet, very cool. Obviously, if you're going to have your hand around the grip of this machine where the motor is housed, we can't be generating a ton of heat. So all of those things have gone into the development of that motor. You guys have anything else you want to add?
I was going to just to piggyback on that, the heat is virtually non-existent. I know we've had a few folks ask about that, saying that you've used tools in the past that get hot and make your hands sweat excessively while you're using them. I don't know about you guys. My hands always sweat when I'm using power tools, whether the tool gets hot or not. But this one, I mean, the heat is virtually non-existent.
It's pretty fantastic. I mean, I think the biggest thing when you're in a shop where guys are banging out metal and, using all sorts of heavy equipment, and they all come and say the noise or lack thereof is my favorite feature.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful because Forrest has been working with us for, I think, nearly 15 years. He's gone through all of the tools, and now he comes to us and says, yeah, man, you guys nailed it. So they're married to us in a certain way, but we also give it to them because they're going to beat the crap out of it.
Yeah.
Right? They're a great group to go, nitpick it.
On that gearless design brushless motor has led to so many benefits to you guys, the end user, that, I mean, it's really like, I've used tools like this before. The size isn't necessarily what's revolutionary. It's how well it operates and the the true power and feature.
Yeah.
Feature rich.
Jeffrey, before we get too far in the weeds, I do want to say we've got our second giveaway winner, and he's been very active, and it's a question back to you. So we're gonna just remind everybody, we'd love you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, because we will be giving away probably one more tool on our No Questions Left Behind. We've had a ton of fantastic questions come in. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and you guys got early access to our 20% off liquid car care sale. So be sure to use the code
SMLAX.
It's what will keep Jeff's lights on, regardless of what he says. But the second tool is going to go to Plantation Walrus. You've been awesome participating. You've asked this question a couple times too. This isn't the winning question, but a couple people have asked, what's the warranty on the tool?
Yeah, we definitely got to address that.
If you guys
Heavy.
have not done business with Griot's Garage, we want customers for life. We have a 180-day satisfaction guarantee on anything, and then a lifetime warranty against defect on all of our tools. Now, we don't want you throwing this in a bathtub with anybody, or doing that and like calling us and saying there's something wrong with the tool. But if the tool fails you, as all electric power tools do, we stand behind our tools. And I'm sure there's going to be a flood of comments in this chat where we have done just that for people. It's one of the most fantastic aspects of our customer service. It's very few questions asked, if any at all, right? You're unhappy, we're going to try and make you happy. So you can invest in this tool knowing that we're going to stand behind it. And that's another reason for all those components and accessories that Jeff was very deliberate about, making sure we had, right? So if your backing plate blows up, which again can happen if you run it into something unsuspectingly, and you believe it's a premature failure, we're going to support that. If we get it and it's caked with 3 years of polishing, we're probably going to say, hey man, that was a consumable piece. But the point is, if you have any doubt about it, we're going to take care of it. So Plantation Walrus's question, and Jeff, I want you to address it, is what was the most challenging aspect of this 5-year development process? If you can think about a single thing.
Well, for one, navigating patents, and being respectful of other manufacturers and their designs, and creating something that's truly unique and different, that's not easy to do. There's a lot of wonderful machines and a lot of power, like really talented engineers in the marketplace, and to be able to like legitimately pursue a design that has integrity and is going to be clean in that regard is really hard to do. And I would say that we originally started off with this design, and in doing that we learned that it's a pathway that we didn't want to take, and there's some other manufacturers that have copied kind of that design that's was first to market, and we can certainly learn from them, but taking it to a new level and doing it something that's unique to Griot's Garage is super important, and that was probably the most challenging part of it. It was all challenging. It wasn't easy, I know that. But something like I don't. Do you have anything else, you guys? I want to ramble.
Oh, I think Stevie, can you scroll up a little bit? Auto Fanatic asked about batteries. I know we briefly addressed this, but we've had this come in a lot and haven't spent a lot of time on it. So Jeff, can you scroll back up, please, so I can read that question?
Estimated runtime. He's suggesting asking why it doesn't come with 2 batteries from the get-go.
There it is. Yeah. So Auto Fanatic asked, have you guys estimated runtime per charge? How long to recharge? And the fact that a lot of the other tools come with 2 batteries. He's curious how much he can use this on a job.
Yeah, it all, if you're going to build a motor, like you could go out and buy a forged crank, you could buy forged rods and, do all kinds of things. And there's costs associated with that. And we made decisions along the way that we feel bring a tool that is state of the art. I have all the confidence in the world in saying that. And so whether it's the 10 amp direct drive motor or the digital control center, the fact that we have 25, I don't know if you guys mentioned this already, but we literally have 25 toolings that were forged and machined from steel. In fact, 9,000 pounds of steel that we invested in. And when at the end of the day, you don't want to launch a tool, frankly, that's $500, $600. And we wanted to get it in your hands at a reasonable price, and then offer accessories that you can pick up that suit your need. There may be some people that will just use the inverter once it comes out, and that's all they're going to rely on, maybe occasionally using the battery. So why increase the retail price by adding another battery when we're getting you in business with the battery? Not everything works out as planned. The batteries and additional chargers are on a boat. They'll be here in the middle of May. So that's one thing. We're going to definitely equip you with the ability to buy those separately. They're certainly reasonably priced. I don't have those off the top of my head. Maybe Stevie can speak to it. I think bringing a competitive product to market that is full of features and benefits, while just getting you in business at a reasonable price is kind of how we went about it.
Yeah, and I will say,
if that answers the question or not.
Based upon the competitive set, I think we're still very competitive at this price versus the non-unique, commoditized, private labeled ones that are, of course, maybe half the price, but they also did no development and don't have a lot of confidence in those. Whereas, we still, as Jeff mentioned, we're just kind of inventory poor for the moment on some of those accessories. And when we're fully loaded, we're going to be kitting, at what will be higher, dollar prices, but there'll be all of the accessories, multiple batteries included. So from the get-go, to Jeff's point, this is going to get you going. That brushless motor is more efficient, so we were suggesting about 45 minutes of runtime, variable based upon pressure applied, drive system used, thickness of pad. So based upon the fact that you can run a 1-inch rotary, with a boss pad on this thing, you're probably getting every red cent of that 45 minutes. If you're looking for cordless 3-inch random orbital application, you're using a 3-inch diameter, 1-inch thick pad, you're probably gonna crush that runtime.
Yeah.
Or reduce it drastically. So there is variability in there. We've used it quite a bit, as I mentioned, with the Griots Motors guys. The way that they're working through total projects, they're cycling this tool on and off. They're not running it for 15 minutes straight. They're running it for 5 minutes in a tight spot, going back to the big tool for a big spot. I think it definitely can help you do jobs immediately.
Yeah, I don't think we've mentioned it yet either, but we do recommend running this tool with our boss pads. So the lower profile pads are going to prolong your runtime because they aren't as heavy, the lighter weight, less stress on that motor. So the boss pads or a similar low profile pad, but ideally the boss pads, if you run a 1-inch or a thick pad, 1-inch thick, not 1-inch diameter. But if you're running thicker pads on there, like Nick mentioned, you will shorten that battery life pretty drastically compared to what you'll get with the boss pads.
I don't think you've shown this too, but one of the cool things, again, one of the other accessories, obviously you've got a rotary drive right out of the box. But we had a couple motorcycle guys saying like, hey, I've got a G8, could this replace the G8? I would say it's going to replace the G8. I think it's got the flexibility to complement it greatly. The fact that you could bust out a 1-inch orbital with a 3.5-inch extension and stick it, into a really tight spot, on the back side of an exhaust pipe or, under a painted area, and or be pivoting the head to keep your, giving you great access. Sorry, I'm trying to manipulate it. Really finding great ways to, instead of, getting stuck at 90 degrees and trying to shove it in there. It's a fantastic compliment if you're a bike detailer.
Yeah. Really getting into anywhere.
Yeah.
We had a question from De Jesus Antonio. He asked, if I had one option to buy a polisher between the G13, G8, or Micro, which one would you suggest that he chooses?
Sorry, what were the options?
G8,
All the small
G13,
format.
or Micro.
Oh.
I would say the Micro, because then you get both functionalities if you're only buying one tool. Well, he didn't say rotary actually, but I'd say the Micro based on the versatility.
Yeah, I mean, the other two mentioned are just straight orbitals.
Yep.
Depends on your experience level. That's how we guide you with that. If you're professional or enthusiast, the G13 gives you more speed in your professional corrections. G8 is definitely, a professional grade tool with a smaller orbit, so it generally takes a little bit more time to do it, but the G8 can go 3-2-1 in terms of backing plate size. So you can go all the way down to 1-inch with a G8. You can only go to 2-inch with a G13. If you need rotary functionality and orbital functionality, there's one tool, and it's the Micro.
Yep.
No question.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one to have. I mean, the one area where like the G8 will potentially be more useful than the Micro would be, when you need a more compact throw for, say, like sanding tasks, if you're refinishing a headlight or something like that. But even that can be done with the Micro.
Yeah, and don't steal Jeff's thunder about.
We had a couple questions about headlights, so.
Yeah.
We have had a few questions also about compatibility between backing plates for the G8 and other orbitals with this tool. These are custom backing plates, and then also whether the rotary extension shafts would work with this tool, and they would not. You need to use the rotary extension shaft designed for this tool.
Yeah, I think that brings up a good point. Just like parts aren't compatible across different models of vehicles typically, same kind of thing applies to our orbitals. You're not going to find backing plate compatibility across, multiple platforms unless, they're similar in like swapping a 5-inch, backing plate from a G15 to a G21. Those are, very similar interfaces, but the plates are all designed to have a certain weight spec that is compatible with the counterweight that is, used on the orbital function or the counterbalance. So if you were to try to put a plate from a different tool, you're probably going to experience heavy vibration because that plate simply is not weight matched to that, tools counterbalance. So please do not try to save a few dollars and run an existing plate on a tool that it is not intended for, because you will almost always regret that decision.
Yeah.
And it will void your warranty. If you return it to us with a G8 plate, cross-threaded into the orbital shaft, we're probably going to tell you you're going to have to buy a new orbital piece.
Well, Jeffrey, I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of the shape of the tool too. I know we kind of have touched on it a lot, but just calling out any of the other key features that we haven't had a chance to talk through.
Sorry,
and probably run the tool again. But, really, as you saw through the iterations we showed you, this is an evolution. It comes from a high level of expertise and use of a multitude of other tools that are lateral to detailing. So automotive still in focus, but maybe some home power tools, drills. And I don't know, for me, I've got a big drill to drill into concrete. It's failing me now, but all sorts of those kind of ergonomic considerations, and then the evolution of building around the power plant and the functions you want to accomplish, and then ultimately thinking about how to make it comfortable, right, if you're going to use it a lot. So done a very good job with all of our other tools, incorporating double shot rubber, great locations for some of those functional aspects. So where the trigger is, how your hand rests as you're focusing, natural grip points. Rest pads, another one. Then the overall shape. I mean, this is unique, right? It's completely our own. This is not a common shape. So, and it's very familiar for us. So we're really, really happy with how all of it came out, and just in using it. We did mention the overall weight and the balance. And those are just big things to incorporate into a finished package, and they take time to do.
The few comments coming in, it sounds like there might be some confusion on what backing plates are included. The Micro does include all 3 plate sizes out of the box, so you don't need to add these on. It includes the 3-inch, the 2-inch, and the 1-inch. Just to reiterate, the 1 and 2-inch are only compatible with the rotary function. The orbital function is compatible with all 3. You'll see that you literally cannot install your 3-inch onto your rotary shaft because of the pin, the centering pin there. The hole on the 3-inch is too small to make that happen. So don't call us thinking that that's a mistake. That is by design. The rotary function is, again, only compatible with your 1 and 2-inch plates. Tool comes with all 3.
Yeah, a couple really quick questions, and then Jeff, if you want to weigh in on any of the other ergonomic touches. Oh, we lost Jeff again. All right, so just over 2.5 pounds is the tool. Very, very much center balance, as we kind of discussed earlier. You're complementing your battery on one side, but at the opposite end of the tool is your entire motor assembly housed in it. And we talked about how it's gearless, so very well balanced and extremely lightweight. Somebody asked, how long is the length of the cord for the future inverter? Well, it's the same cord for all of our other tools. So if you already have a Griots Garage cord, and those are in 13 and 25-foot iterations, the heavy gauge, the heavy-duty 25-foot cord that can power all the tools, including those higher output long throws, is all that you need to plug it into the inverter. So that's part of the benefit of having a family of tools and great manufacturing partner. That's the level of thought we're putting into this. So you're not going to need a net new cord if you already have a Griots Garage cord.
Can you show off the fuel gauge on the battery?
Oh, yeah. So on the back of the tool, really nice function. We do have, a battery life function here. So fuel gauge on back, check the status of the battery. It's pretty much market standard now, but we're excited about that. One of the other questions that I did see pertains to the digital control center. So we did mention the function of it. It does have an odometer, so overall life or hours on the tool.
Yeah. No, it doesn't look like that in real life. That's because of the cameras, guys.
Yeah. The brightness cannot be adjusted.
There you go. There's a static image.
You probably shouldn't be staring at the screen while you're working your car, but it's a good reference center for both your RPM and OPM. The center number on there is actually a job timer. So if you are tracking time on a detail or charging somebody by the hour, that we thought was an excellent advantage. And I think
that's in minutes, correct? The job timer
Yes.
is in minutes, and then the top is the odometer, and that one is in hours, right?
Yeah, and yes. And remember when we had gone to Griots Motors, we looked at their odometer. It was actually 4 total hours.
Yeah.
But in terms of the amount of work that they had done, over the course of that detail, they're using it 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there.
Yep.
So they added a lot of hours on it. Now, the gentleman was also asking, is there expected useful life? Is that why there's an odometer? No, it's simply for us, to understand, how many hours are on that tool? Is there something that failed prematurely? Oh my gosh, you're the rock star in terms of the most hours used.
Yeah, and just like your car, it's a point of pride when you're like, I've been running this tool for 1,000 hours. It's like clicking over 200K on a car that's well loved and cared for. It's an accomplishment.
Yeah. and again, for us, our warranty is not in question. So you don't have to worry about, I'm running this thing up to 100 hours, then Griots is going to stop supporting me. No, for us, it's root cause discovery, right? If we have what we believe to be a premature failure, we want to figure out what happened. It doesn't mean you're out of a tool. It means that we get to figure out how to avoid that mistake in the future. And as we said, all electric power tools will fail at some point for different reasons. We had the opportunity to engineer a lot of those failure points out of a lot of our other tools, including cord connection being a big one. So it's just a fancy little add-on that will tell you how much you've run the tool.
Yeah, pretty cool. A few of you have been asking about the trigger as well. It is variable speed, just like our long throw orbitals and the G13, the GR3. So you can, right now I've got it set at max speed on the speed dial, but I can start off slow, nice slow rotation and ramp up from there until I get to full speed. So you got really nice control. There's also not a lot of uptake on that trigger. It's almost instant power, in that first millimeter or two of trigger pull. So there's, it makes for really less fatigue in your fingers and your hands if you are squeezing the trigger. And then of course you have your trigger lock. So I'm gonna turn this down so I don't fling polish all over both of us, but you can, lock it in and run it, out with one hand or whatever you need to do to prevent, the need to constantly squeeze that trigger. So very, very user-friendly with that variable speed. I love variable speed triggers because nobody likes slinging polish everywhere, and that's really one of the best ways to prevent any sling.
Yeah. So
what's up, guys?
Oh, hey, you're back. Nice to have you.
I took a nap. Long day.
All right. We did have somebody ask. I think they wanted to see the drive change. So
yeah,
we did that already in the show, but just you don't need additional tools. And then I think there was a question about backing plate change on top of.
Oh yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah.
I know I saw another one while we're talking about drive change. The extension that Nick has on his micro here, that is not included. That is an additional accessory that you have to purchase separately. However, the standard rotary drive is included. There we go. Yeah, so that one, standard. The extension is not included, so just keep that in mind. But for your drive swap, so right now we have the Orbital in there with the pad on. I'm just going to leave the pad. We'll take them out all together. So simply, you've got on its back, slide that collar down, pull that right out. You can hear that click as it goes past the detents. Take your rotary shaft, insert it down. Again, you can hear that click. Boom. All right,
hey, Sam.
There we go. Now she's locked in. So always give it a nice pull. Make sure you're locked in. What's up, Jeff?
Yeah, I thought I'd show you guys what the actual mechanism looks like. If you want to pop me on video, I can give you a quick under the hood look.
Internals.
I don't know if you can let me know when you can see me.
We're not on video, Jeffrey. We got Jeff's iPhone.
Hold on.
There you are.
Okay, so this assembly is the fast change head, and if you look, imagine you're pulling up on the shroud, and that's what's creating that release. It's literally that simple. I don't know if you guys can see that. So you've got two bearings. These are super premium Japanese bearings, so that's going to contribute to a long working life. But with all the drives, you got the 13 millimeter orbital drive, which is 1 millimeter longer than what the other two guys are offering, and then you've got the short stubby rotary drive. Again, like Sam said, is compatible with only the 1 inch and 2 inch plate. And obviously, that's just the 3 inches is too much rotational friction. And then, of course, you have the where did I put that? The 3.5 inch rotary extension drive. So this is going to be killer for getting in around emblems, like grill work, louvers. Our old boy Daryl down there in the Bay Area will love this for doing louvers on his hot rods. And this thing is just precisely balanced, super smooth. So that's kind of how that assembly works.
Yeah, and it's quite simple. Again, I think as you get used to it, we do recommend, the tool does have rest pads, just placing it firmly on its back, taking it in, and because it is a hex shaft, we're just trying to get you to lock it in there and release. And again, it can be a little finicky if you're rushing it, but once it clicks in, you're good to go. But also give it a nice tug just to ensure it. But yeah, it's really quick swap, no tools required. For installing the backing plates, you can take one of your drive assemblies and hand tighten the plate onto it before you incorporate it. Or if it's on the tool and you don't want to change the drive assembly, there is a wrench included to swap backing plates. Future state, we will be able to support additional drive assemblies, so you could get really fancy and have 2 orbital assemblies at 2 different sizes and simply swap the assembly really quick, which would be even faster.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, it's a tactile experience, and I mean it's a very positive lock in there. And as long as you give it that little check, you're good to go.
Yep.
So hey guys, I noticed a few questions on the charger. This is a really a sophisticated smart charger that has an LED readout that actually has color-coded, indicators that dictate like where the battery's at in terms of its charge cycle. Obviously, red is dead, amber, and then you work into, or a yellowish color, you work into green is fully charged. So the charge time, this current technology is going to get you roughly 40 to 45 minutes, maybe as much as 50, depending on like how discharged the battery is. This is a 12 to 20 volt charger, so we're future proof, if you will. You're going to be able to work with our 20 volt tools one day. So that's the plan, anyways. This battery, this is a 2.5 amp hour, 30 watt hour battery. So that's kind of our first foray into it. There are technologies that we could potentially increase the runtime by adding more cells. Granted, the drawback is weight, but that is certainly something that we will explore. And if enough people ask for it, I'll have to convince Gary and our fellow finance team to support just a modest tooling fee. But that's, we're not going to rest on the laurels. We're going to definitely listen to you all and continue to elevate the machine as time passes. There's other potential uses for this tool. A lot of collision repair shops do. They're getting into removing dirt nibs with a 1 inch sanding disc. So there's different ways we can amplify the use of this tool by equipping it with different counterbalance assemblies and backing plates. But that's all down the road. We got to earn our keep first, keep the lights on, and we'll eventually get there. But kind goodness. Anything else, you guys?
Jeffrey, I would love you to show the inverter too, just because we did explain some of the accessories and support elements are still, about a month behind, month and I think 6 weeks behind right now. But the inverter is part of that. It's not immediately available, but it is one of the biggest aspects of this, the hybrid power. You don't have to dive into your perspective on the cars, but just in terms of the ability, the flexible power source concept where you can run batteries or you can run the cord. We kind of already talked through when you were off that the cord is the same as all of our other tools, but it plugs into the back of the inverter. So if you could show that off, that'd be a great little add-on. And then for everybody who's asking, again, standard equipment, we'll summarize that again, but you do get the charger, the 3 backing plates, the 2 drive assemblies, which are the 13 millimeter random orbital, and the rotary shaft. You get 1 battery and then the carrying case with it, and the backing plate wrench. And then our plan is consumables and accessories, so from batteries to backing plates to, again, multiple drive assemblies, and then this inverter. So I'd love you to show the inverter off. And I'll show
so
the
I think
case
it's
off
Neil's
again.
birthday, so shout out to Neil real quick. He asked about whether or not this can be mounted on the wall. It's a 5.5-inch mounting holes. You can most certainly mount it on your wall. If you're a detailer and you're mobile, you can have it mounted on your truck. So that's definitely a cool feature. So, okay, we got current 12 volt. We're going to pop this off. This is a 3D printed inverter. It's not beautiful, so don't hate. But you'll get the idea. So this just slides in the exact same spot. And you're gonna basically ready to go. So again, quick connect power cord.
Did you run it?
As Nick mentioned.
We couldn't hear it.
What? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Because it's so quiet.
Hey, I got the jokes, baby.
That quiet.
But
So,
again, Jeff,
yeah,
could we go back to Jeff? I just want to show you, can you pull the cord out? Because anybody who has a Griot's Garage tool, understands it.
Yeah, it's one of those features that I've said it before, but you will not really fully realize it until you have, if you're intense and you got all 7 machines sitting there in your cart, like you can't really appreciate it until you just simply pop it in your G15, do your full panel, and then you got to do some intricate detail work or edge work. You just pop it back into the inverter. So I mean, that running one tool or all 7 tools with 1 cord, like, to me, that it's just it's so killer because you don't have all that cord mess running around your shop.
Yeah,
your toolbox is clean and tight because you're not managing upwards of a 29-foot cord. We just saw a new polisher that was launched that's got 29 feet. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not carrying that around. So anyways,
it's a lot of cord weight.
That is the
to be attached
that
to
is
the
the power
polisher itself too.
Especially in a professional shop, it's like you have 3 orbitals per cart and 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 detailers running in a shop. Like, that's a lot of cords to trip over. So you can reduce your liability in a professional shop with using our orbital.
Yeah, and again, just showing off the case for you guys. This is included in the base model. It does have an extra spot for an extra battery. As we mentioned, more substantial kits will be part of that offering when we have the accessory support that we do. All of those are baked and developed. They're just in transit. Sergio Hurtado has asked this question a million times, Jeff, and I think he's almost spamming us at this point, but he wants an answer to it. And he said, are we going to develop batteries that will serve our corded tools? You want to address that?
Yeah, unfortunately, the technology just doesn't work that way. Don't get me wrong, I've asked, but to create an inverter that would power an 1100 watt motor. If you recall earlier, we were talking about the efficiencies of a commutator motor. Like, it's not feasible.
Well, yeah,
maybe
AC,
if we
DC power, right? So you'd have to have an inverter with the battery plugged into the inverter, and then the inverter plugged into the tool, which would get not only expensive but also just heavy, and you got a lot of length coming off.
Yeah. So Sergio, hopefully
Nick,
finally got that question, but the answer is no. Like you can't just swap that over, right?
Yeah,
it would be great. It'd be awesome for us. It'd be less inventory and all that, but it just doesn't work that way. But I did want to just make sure you guys know that hybrid power inverter is currently in development. Not development. We're producing tooling, and that's actually going to be out a little bit later than the drive assemblies and the charger and the batteries, which are due the mid-May. So just be patient. I promise you it'll be worth it. Just making sure we set the right expectations with y'all.
No stress. 13. Is there a locking mechanism for the pivot head? Yes, it's this button here. Simply push it, it locks into place. So pretty convenient. It's not going to shift on you. It locks in pretty damn firm. So
we have those 4. Have we showed all 4 pivots, or just the full range of motion of that pivot head? So you can go from your highest pivot point back down to 90.
We had a couple questions. I don't remember who asked the first one, but they were asking whether the different angle of the head would affect the power that's emitted by the tool. The answer is no.
No.
And then we had a request to see the tool in action with the head at a different angle. If we could do that.
And just to be clear, Sergio, it was not a bad question. It's an opportunity for us to explain it because we'd had that consideration ourselves.
Yeah, right? It was a great question.
With the design of all of our corded tools, we literally put like a power outlet on the back of it. Man, if we could punch an inverter into the back of that and run it on battery, we'd be pretty damn brilliant from day one. Even as brilliant as it is to have the interchangeable cord amongst tools, we love that innovation, as Jeff explained. It's simply just a matter of electrical engineering that unfortunately can't function as this tool is designed.
Yeah.
But as we mentioned, this is our first one. We learned a lot, and if you guys buy enough of them, we're going to be doing more. That's really all it comes down to. Because hate to keep riding those bean counters, but we're on the dreamer side of the business, and some of our dreams need to be validated by sales. So and we're doing great right from the start, and seeing a lot of positive comments. So we're excited about this tool and the future of machine development for us. What?
Oh, Plantation Walrus coming in with a good dad joke about electrical tools currently in development.
We've talked a lot, so give the people what they want. Run that thing at a different angle and show them how useful it is.
We'll throw the rotary back on since we haven't run that at all yet.
I will say too, guys, we're really introducing the tool. We like to take the opportunity with something so significant for our company relative to the engineering. Somebody was asking, who did you outsource all this engineering to? It's not outsourced. This is all done in-house and with our manufacturing partner. We're lucky to have a brilliant one. And it's been part of our run the past few years. So, we didn't outsource that, and this is really a technical deep dive into the development. You will see this tool demoed and used, from now on. For us right now, we're didn't have the same access to our wash bay, so we couldn't set up some cars, but we will definitely show it in use in some cool tight spots and different applications.
Yeah, maybe we can make something happen for sooner than later as well. I don't know where I'm going. I'll go over here so you guys can see what I'm doing. So we've got the 2-inch plate on the rotary drive. I will articulate the head. We'll go all the way just to show you guys the function. This is going to be a little awkward. I wouldn't normally polish an area like this with the head fully articulated, but you can see that rotary drive, without the orbit, allows you to get down into those valleys and contours. Speed that up, lock the trigger in. And you can see we've got very fast pad rotation with the rotary drive. Just barely a whine coming through there.
I think it's probably because you just
so quiet. So, you can hear when I really apply pressure down into that valley, That just powers right through it. Pretty awesome. With
Yeah,
the
and you know what
rotary
we were
function
kind of
there.
showing on some of our videos, like, you know, when you're like kind of sitting at an angle and you're doing like the lip of, I think you guys were detailing the GT3 Porsche.
Yeah.
You know, you can hold the tool level and keep your pad rotating directly over the path that it's supposed to rotate. So instead of contorting yourself over to keep your machine straight on a highly angled and tight spot, you can use the head to figure out, you know, how am I going to hold it? So it's fantastic flexibility.
There's a photo on the product page on the website where we're working on that acid green GT3. I think it was on the front bumper. You know, there's an angled section, you know, right above the front lip at the bottom edge of the bumper, and we've got it fully articulated right there, and are getting into that angle really easily without, you know, risking bumping the orbital into any adjacent areas. And then the NACA ducts on that 512 BBI, I know where those were another area where we had it fully articulated out, so you could get the slight edge. You know, those are the triangular shaped ducts on this. You see them on the sides of a lot of vintage, you know, 80s Ferraris, and those are, you know, functional ducts for cooling and aerodynamics. But it's a heck of a spot to polish if you're working on getting in there with anything other than the micro. It's almost impossible to do it. You've got to, you know, get in there by hand. But this tool makes it possible.
Craig Tershel asked.
Hey guys. Oh, sorry, Stevie.
No, I was just going to say, Craig asked, when you shut the tool off, does the tool resume at the speed you left off on?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So I noticed that Phil from our good friend out there in the East Coast, he had acknowledged like some of the annoying things that some of the tools on the market currently do. And one of the things for me that drove me crazy with a tool that I was quite fond of is that it would always default back to a specific speed. Like I think it was speed 3 or 4. So every single time I took my finger off the trigger, I had to reset the speed to where I wanted it. So the way we program the microprocessor, it will default back to the speed setting that you previously had it at. So that's a minor little thing, but for me, like, it's highly annoying when you have to like continually, adjust your speed setting.
All right. Well, look, we've been here for a while. I think we got to find one more tool to give away. And oh yeah, we did have a question come about our poster. Be interesting to see if anybody knew what that movie was. But we always do these YouTube live posters. Another reason to sign up for our Instagram and Facebook, because they're a lot of fun. We have fun writing the copy. We have fun taking the photos. They're always ridiculous. They've put me in all sorts of weird positions.
Great.
Yeah. So if you can guess the movie, we'll give you something. We probably won't give you a tool for that guess, because I know there's a lot of fans of that particular movie. In fact, like our brand ambassador, Chris Jacobs, like texted me right away and started asking me about what the heck I did and how much I watched it, that movie. But let's see. Does speed up when you apply pressure like the bigger Griots motors machines do? Fab Automotive Detailing asked that, Jeff.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Fab Automotive Detailing, obviously his uncle runs our production line. We know Fab. Thanks for coming by, dude. He asks, does it speed up when you apply pressure like the bigger Griots machines do?
Yeah, it does have, you'll actually, where a lot of these micro tools will just start to stall, and there's actually kind of a sweet spot where it'll have that additional power kick in and power through, driving pad rotation. So you'll kind of hear the motor grunt a little bit, and then it just kicks in. So it's very fluid and responsive to the different body panels. So one thing I just wanted to comment on, you guys, like especially for enthusiasts, like where rotary polishing perhaps could be interpreted as kind of intimidating, if not scary. With the 1 inch and 2 inch, particularly the 1 inch, the friction and heat that's generated with that small of a diameter, it's actually very, 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 very low. And the biggest benefit is around when you're working around really intricate emblems. If you're working around, let's say, a sprayer or a windshield squirter on a hood where you've got it taped off and you're trying to precisely cut in that edge, that rotary is outstanding even for an enthusiast, because it with a 13 mil or even a 12 mil orbit, you're working back and forth to that distance, and it's essentially banging into those little obstacles, if you will. So definitely for even enthusiasts, you'll appreciate that 1 inch for sure. It's just a precision scalpel for working around those intricate areas that often honestly go dead. Like you'll polish the car and you'll look at those particular obstacles, and right around maybe the first millimeter to 2 millimeters around those detail pieces, you're going to see paint that hasn't been fully corrected. So that's just one of the things that I'm appreciating about the 1 inch for sure. So,
we did have somebody guess. I think it was Malin Patel was the first. So Malin, email social@griotsgarage.com. Stevie, Sam, and I will cook up something real special for you.
He's been very active too.
Shit!
Not sloppy joes.
Is this your first? Let us know if this is your first live too, Malin. I don't recognize your handle from past ones. You may have been in there. We get a lot of comments coming in, so forgive me if I didn't see you.
But yes, it is Cobra. That is the original that we're flashing up on the screen. So, got a little more chest hair than Stallone, but
legendary
apparently our necks are similar size. But well, guys, look, we've been here for an hour and 45 minutes. We only gave away 2 tools, but I think we're gonna have to give away the balance and the no questions left behind.
Yeah.
So
that leaves us 2 for.
Yeah, you can leave comments on this video after the live has ended. If you're just watching this after the live and you want to get a chance to participate in the giveaway, ask us a question in those comments. And then there was hundreds and hundreds of questions that came through today. So thank you guys so much for your participation. We love doing this for you all. As a reminder, our 20% liquid car care sale is on right now. We turned it on for you guys for joining us tonight. Use the key code SMLAX for 20% off all of your liquid car care from griotsgarage.com. The Boss Hybrid Micro Polisher is on sale right now. You can buy it at griotsgarage.com. That is not included in the 20% off liquid car care sale. That applies to liquids only. But again, think you're going to love this tool. We priced it to get into your hands. You've got the best warranty on planet Earth with it. You're going to find some awesome uses for it. So,
love it.
Remember, all of the questions that were submitted in this live that did not get answered will be in the No Questions Left Behind. So you do still have a chance to win. So definitely tune into that. Check it out.
And if you guys didn't win, or you were in there like, come on, guys, you've answered my questions and you're not picking me, join the follow-up.
Yeah.
You got another chance.
It'll be there on Friday evening, and we will announce, some additional giveaway winners. So throw us comments on this, and if you commented or asked a question in this chat, we take all of our questions from there. So we'll see you on Friday. Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
And thank you guys for being patient with the technical difficulties, but we're really proud of this thing. A lot of work went into it. We couldn't do it with without the entire support of the organization, including our bean counters, who we love very much, especially when we're begging for money. And thanks to our team on the backside of here, Tony, Matt, Julie, and Stevie. This was a long one. Tony's been standing very patiently for us, and this was his christening here.
His feet are probably getting sore.
Yeah, so thank you guys for participating, and have fun in your garage.
Have fun in your garage, guys.